Hello and welcome to my new tips and tricks video for Dwarf Fortress. In this one we are going to cover all manner of different quality of life things. So basically all 11 points on the list here, timestamps below, are meant to make the management of your fortress easier and reduce the tedium that Dwarf Fortress sadly sometimes has in it. So let's get right started with number one. You probably already know about it because it's a quite popular one, but I really wanted to feature it. So scrolling in this game is a thing. You need to scroll through trade menus, you need to scroll through your registers, you need to scroll a lot in Dwarf Fortress. If you hold down left shift, you are allowed to scroll an entire page, and that is a real game changer. If you haven't known about it, now you do, and enjoy. This also does work with elevation levels. So if you scroll down elevation levels while holding down left shift, you jump down 10 at once. So you can use that for quick navigation. Number two is very similarly popular, but also very useful. When you hit that yellow button here, you can change between all mining and automatic mining. If you plot a automatic mining job on an ore or a gemstone, your miners will rush towards there, and then after the job is done, the game will check if there's more of the same stuff around it. So basically, as you see there, this produces all the mining jobs that you require with just one click. It's quite commonly used, but in case you didn't know it yet, this saves you so much micromanagement while digging out entire veins of metals. So, number three goes into a very similar department. That's over here, the blueprint mode. In case you didn't know it yet, you can activate your blueprint mode, and then you can designate whatever you want to mine out. And as you see there, it's now marked in blue. That means it's just a blueprint, they won't do it. So if you go on over here, you can activate the blueprint, but the most cool part is you can also transform your active building orders back into blueprints again. So for example, by sealing off only this one tile, I can now favor something else. This is really useful when you suddenly come into a situation where you need to do something and you don't want to cancel out all the jobs. You can of course just delete that one job here, but you can also just turn it all into a blueprint, or you plan out your entire new citizen district as you want. Do as you want with the blueprint mode, but it's a pretty useful tool that I personally like to use whenever I'm in planning mode. So, number four is also very useful and commonly used in the city building. So when you're designating zones, like all these bedrooms here, they can be, this is the standard setting. You can paint them all one by one, which is a pretty painful process, or you use the multi button here and you just drag and drop a rectangle over all the rooms that you want to be bedrooms. And then, as you see here, now it says rejected because the bedrooms are already created, but it would have created 40 bedrooms out of these because the multi-tool does scan for the furniture inside the room, and if there's a bed, it will make a bedroom out of it, and if not, no bedroom. You can use it for several other room types in the game, and it's a real power tool if you want to designate a large sector of your city without breaking a sweat. Good stuff, and really easily accessible. So let's get on over to number 5 on my list, which I dubbed speed mining. So when you have situations like these where you notice that you have several levels and you just want, let's say you want to farm out some dolomite, you're not after the you're not so much after the metal. Let's say we were after the dolomite. So we're going on over here, place down a mining job, and now you can scroll down with your mining job. And then let's say we release it here. As you scroll back up, you notice it's all down there. So this is a really nifty tool to designate a large section of mining at once. You can also go there and left shift scroll down to designate 10 levels at once. At the end of it, you can also just connect it with a staircase, drilling through that. Easy peasy. It's a pretty cool tool to lay down quick mining patterns without having to program macros, because not everybody wants to program macros, and this is a pretty easy way to bring up mining plots that work for several levels without breaking a sweat. So number 6, Hotkey Navigation. If you click this little button here, or you use the hotkey H, this screen here allows you to designate a part of your fortress as a hotkey. So as you see here, I have several of these. So with this button, you can jump to the saved zone, and with this button, you save the current screen as a hotkey point. And as you see there, there's a lot of them, scaling from F1 to F8, and here there's another set, making it a total of 16. So using these makes managing the everyday business in your fortress so much easier. Here I have several designation points that I can hop to, because it's just so damn useful if you have these. Use them wisely, and if you want to, you can also go up into settings and assign other key bindings to it. Alright, so number 7 is a trick that I use for building large areas. So when we want to build something large like the structure here, this is an entire castle in the making, you will need a lot of blocks of the same material. And if you are designating them in the building menu like that, you always have to look for them here in the list, which is really, really bothersome. So instead, put up a stockpile zone. Here, for example, I already did that with siltstone blocks. Designate what kind of block you want to use for your project, and the rest is up to your haulers. And now it gets a lot easier. First off, the material you're looking for is most likely always at the top of your list, like here, siltstone blocks. And the coolest part is now you can safely use closest material, as long as you're sure that you have enough of the blocks available for whatever you paste there. You have no more pain with selecting building materials, because even if you want to make sure that you have enough blocks, they're always at the top of the list, and that makes things so darn much easier. So, number 8, let's hop on down to another stockpile trick, which I personally love to use for the prisons. So my standard prison looks a lot like this, where I have drink and food for them stored. My lazy jurists just didn't do that yet. And as you see there, we have a lot of prison cells. So going inside there now and designating a new stockpile zone and configuring it like that is a torture. So the fun part is, stockpile zones don't need to be physically connected as long as they are on the same height level. So we can now go here, press the brush button, and go and paste down a stockpile zone in every cell, and it's technically all one stockpile zone. So that means your dwarfs will now apply the same rules to every one of these little grids here, and this will save up so much of your time and your brain power that I hope you appreciate that one whenever you have a situation where you have tiny stockpiles that you need to scatter all over the place. I'm pretty sure this can be used for other projects as well. So, number 9 is something about the boulder plague in your fortresses. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feels like sometimes boulders are everywhere and hurting the aesthetics of your fortress. I mean, it's already painful enough to have these clothing thingies tossed all over the place, but jokes aside, the game just produces a lot of boulders, and sometimes when I build a neat area, this just bothers me. So there are 2 tricks that I want to show you. First off, the easiest way, you go down here to the designation menu, and you go here on that eyeball thing, and here you make them just go away. The fun part about it is they are only hidden for the user interface. Your dwarfs will still go there and interact with these if they happen to need a chalk boulder. And you can always, as you see there, press this eyeball thingy to undo your decisions to make them visible again. Since dwarves don't feel bothered by boulders as much as I do, this also doesn't have any gameplay downsides. They'll walk over this grid just like there would be nothing. But if you are like me and you want to get the stuff really tidied up and you're just bothered by some boulders lying around there hidden, there's another thing that you can do. So you can use the garbage dump zone. For that, make sure that you don't have any other garbage dump zone, like I do here. I have one where I dumped away my old clothing. You need to delete that first. And when you're sure that you have no garbage zones, to make sure, by the way, you can go into the Places menu and check out your zones. All your zones are listed here. I mean, it can be a little bit tedious, but if you have forgotten if there's a garbage zone, you can find it by the icon. So, back to the topic, we assign a garbage dump zone wherever you want to dump your boulders. Here, I wouldn't want to dump them here because, you know, we want to get rid of them, but for the sake of example. So, next thing, we go onto the trash can icon, and now we mark those pesky boulders. Your dwarves will now go and dump everything that has a trash can icon on it on that little tiny grid. Funnily enough, they are able to ignore the restrictions that usually are applied to stockpiles, which is a neat thing and is being used as so-called quantum stockpiling. So with this method, you can tell your dudes to get the stuff carried away really quickly in one area to somewhere else, and once they're all at one spot, you can still hide them there with using the designators that I showed you, or you can just dump it right next to your stoneworkers' workshops. Just keep in mind, everything that gets dumped into a trash stockpile zone has a lock on it afterwards. So if you want your people to use it again, you need to unforbid it. With these tools, you can get rid of those pesky boulders on your fortress floors quite easily. So number 10 is for all of you who are living in biomes that don't have too many trees and you still want to find them, and it's pretty pesky to find them, isn't it? So there's one cool thing that you can do. When you're on the surface level, just go and scroll one flick up, and as you might notice here, there's a lot of jitters here, and all these things are actually trees. So here you don't see any trees. It's really nigh impossible to notice the trees. But once we go a little bit upstairs, we can see all the tree branches and all. And basically, when you are hovering 1 or 2 height levels above a specific zone, you can spot those trees so darned easily that it's going to be a easy thing to chop them. Here in this area, we obviously have enough wood, but I've been in environments where there were only like 6 or 10 trees all scattered all over the map, and this can be really handy to quickly find them. Here it looks like an unnecessary tool, though. So, number 11 is the last on the list, and it's mass job cancellation. So, who doesn't know the problem? You were just building something, and you forgot to set back to select material after placement, and now you're designating a huge piece of floor, and wrong height level. You're designating a huge piece of floor you didn't want to use closest material, and now you're here. You could now click them and cancel. That's a pain, isn't it? So the easiest way to cancel that is you go here and you just get rid of it. And this is a very, very easy way to just delete those tiles. And for example, and this is a good example here. So if there would be like a few tiles in between that you want to delete, you note that when you delete the open jobs, all the other stuff will get now ripped out. Go on the eraser afterwards to save all the floor tiles that you don't want to have deleted. Alrighty, so that's all the quality of life things that I could cook up in the last 50 or 100 hours playing. I hope you found these helpful. I'm pretty sure that there's even more to it, so feel free to drop comments down below, bringing up your own lazy ideas to make the dwarves' life easier. Feel free to ask questions. I will happily answer whatever I can. And as usual, leave a thumbs up on that video. It helps so much to make other people find it as well. And consider subscribing. I do daily content like this, and you might like to hit the bell button to get notified when something new hits town. Also, there is a playlist link down there leading to all the other tutorial stuff that I made for Dwarf Fortress. And if this is the first video of Dwarf Fortress tutorials that you're watching from me, I've done a lot of things, and you might want to watch them. It's up to you. So, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day and tune in soon again. Bye-bye.